brothers and sisters.
Take a deep breath. You are never alone. God's presence is always here. Open your heart, cleanse your mind, and receive today's scripture.
Well, it's incredibly packed with meaning.
Absolutely. And our source is the biblical text itself, the core idea. It's essentially a warning.
A warning about where we place our ultimate trust, specifically relying on human strength or people rather than something more foundational.
And we should probably touch on the original context briefly.
Definitely. So Jeremiah the prophet was speaking to people, the Israelites, who were really tempted by political pressures.
Looking for security in alliances with powerful neighbors?
Exactly. Relying on those tangible human solutions instead of divine guidance. This verse cuts right through that.
It feels very relevant, though, not just ancient history.
Oh, completely. We all face this, don't we? That temptation to lean on what we can see, what we feel we can control.
Our jobs, our connections, our own, smarts.
Right. So let's look at the actual words. Jeremiah 17:5 says, "Cursed is the one who trusts in man, who draws strength from mere flesh, and whose heart turns away from the Lord."
Okay, that first word jumps out immediately. Cursed. That's intense.
It really is strong language. It's not just saying it's a bad idea or you'll be disappointed.
No, cursed implies something much deeper.
It suggests a kind of severing, a state of being cut off from blessing or well-being, a move towards, negative consequences, spiritually and maybe even practically.
Okay, so what about trusts in man and draws strength from mere flesh? Is this just about, say, not trusting a specific person?
It can include that, but it's broader. Trusting in man could mean over-relying on human systems, political power, maybe even ideologies or charismatic leaders.
Things that seem solid but are ultimately human. Limited.
Exactly. And drawing strength from mere flesh points to relying solely on our own abilities, our resources, our human ingenuity, without looking beyond that.
Like trying to run everything on battery power when there's a main supply available.
That's a good analogy. And look at the consequence mentioned right there in the verse.
Whose heart turns away from the Lord.
Yeah. So it's not just presented as a poor strategy.
It's a shift in allegiance, a fundamental change in focus.
Precisely. It's about where your heart, your core loyalty and reliance truly resides.
Which brings us back to why this feels so relevant now. Why does this ancient warning still hit home?
Well, I think it's because that pull towards self-reliance is just so deeply human, isn't it? Especially when things feel uncertain or difficult.
We want control. We want tangible solutions we can grasp.
And modern life often reinforces that, right? The emphasis on individual achievement, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps.
Definitely. But we also see the limitations. Human systems fail, people are fallible.
Constantly. Yet, we often default back to putting immense trust in them.
And the verse suggests that doing so might actually hinder us spiritually.
That seems to be the implication. If all our energy and trust goes towards finite human things, we might neglect cultivating a connection to what the text presents as an infinite, more reliable source.
Creating a sort of disconnect.
Yeah, a subtle one perhaps, but significant.
Now, this verse highlights the negative outcome, the curse. But doesn't the surrounding text in Jeremiah offer a contrast?
It does. It sets up a direct comparison, usually in the verses that follow. Although we're focusing just on verse 5 today, it's clearly part one of a two-part idea.
Implying there's a blessing for trusting differently.
Exactly. The subsequent verses typically describe the blessed state of the one who trusts in the Lord. It paints a picture of stability, resilience, like a tree planted by water.
So it's this contrast, spiritual barrenness and vulnerability from misplaced trust versus
life, fruitfulness, stability that comes from trust being placed, according to the text, correctly.
So the core message isn't don't trust anyone ever.
No, not at all. It seems to be more of a call to examine the foundation of our confidence. Where does our ultimate security rest?
Right. What are we truly leaning on when the pressure's on?
It prompts that self-reflection. What are those human things, maybe a career, social status, even a relationship, that we're tempted to make our ultimate source of strength or validation?
Okay, so wrapping this up then, Jeremiah 17.5 is this really potent reminder.
Yeah, about the potential pitfalls of relying only on human strength, human systems.
And it really underscores how important it is to be conscious of where we place that deepest level of trust.
Absolutely. And for you listening, maybe the takeaway is just pause and consider that for yourself. Where are the foundations of your security? Where does your ultimate confidence lie?
What might shift if you really examine that?
It's a powerful question. And like we said, this is just one verse. There's always more depth when you look at the surrounding context.
Definitely food for thought. Well, thanks for diving into this single verse with us today.